I think that most of the time we go through our lives and we forget that what we are doing is driving this sort of vehicle that we call our bodies. You are not your body. Your identity and who you are is not your body. You are the thing that is driving the body. Just like you are not your mind. You are the thing behind the thoughts. You are the space between your thoughts. You are what is behind it. And what we forget in forgetting that we are driving a vehicle, in forgetting that we are inhabiting a body, that we have a body, that we are not it. In forgetting that, we also forget that suffering and misery are an experience which is created by the mind. We forget that we do have control, not over every experience and every single emotion that we have, but we do have control over what energy we give into the experiences, what energy we give into the emotions that we have. And we forget that we have the power to separate ourselves from the thoughts and therefore the emotions, because thought and emotion are tied into each other inherently, because they both originate from the mind. And we forget that we have the ability to separate ourselves from the thoughts and observe them impartially and non-judgmentally. We have the ability to observe our thoughts. And in observing your thoughts, you cease to give them power. Because when you observe your thoughts, you have inherently turned in on yourself and you have separated yourself and stopped identifying. That scared the crap out of me. That scared the crap out of me. Really? Oh my God. So, we had a little bit of a hang up there, but it's alright. So, by turning inward and observing your thoughts, you stop giving them power because you have become the observer. By consciously being aware of what you were thinking and feeling, you have turned in on yourself and stopped giving your thoughts power because you have become the observer. You have stopped identifying with the thoughts. You have the power to do this at any given time. It does not matter where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. You always have the power to do this. You have power over your thoughts and emotions, which is that you can have thoughts and emotions without allowing them to control you. See, we have to go through a certain process in our life to grow. You have to walk before you run. And the majority of people in my generation, and a lot of people outside of this generation, damn. I'm doing construction outside as I'm trying to do this. So the majority of the people in my generation and some people outside of my generation, what we have come to realize is that a lot of our maturity and growth that we have to do in our life has to deal with overcoming childhood traumas. It has to do with healing our inner child, fixing the things that our parents did to us by invalidating us, being overly harsh. When we were children, we didn't have control over our emotions because we didn't even know what emotions were yet, and so we were fully identified with them in certain ways. And so our parents would, tell us to toughen up. They would beat us. They would tell us, and this is an experience that a lot of people in my generation have. This is an experience that it almost seems universal for people between the ages of like 20 to like 30, 35. It seems like a pretty universal experience that this is what people did to their parents, or what people's parents did to them, rather. And what this taught us was that it was invalid to have emotion. And so we would have the emotions and then we would stuff them away. We would ignore them, which is the opposite, you see, of observing them. That is the exact opposite of observing your emotions, is ignoring them, stuffing them away, and pretending that they're not there. And this is the baseline that a lot of people come into adulthood at. It's not really just my generation, but it's really the vast majority of people come into adulthood with the idea that they need to suppress, hide, and ignore their emotions. Now, what most of us have learned, because it seems like pretty common knowledge now, most of us have learned that the experience of emotion is a natural thing, and so we should not push them away. We shouldn't stuff them down and ignore them and pretend that they aren't there. So we have established that. We have already gotten to this point where it is okay to have the emotions, and we don't need to, we basically don't need to do anything about it to put it away. Now, there's a next step to this, which is what I'm describing, because now the general thought pattern is that I have emotions, and it is not my fault that I have emotions, which is true. But we continue to identify with them because we are basically going through a stage in life. We're going through a stage in life that we should have gone through as children, but our parents didn't allow us to, which was the identification with our emotions and the acting out of them. Like a toddler throws a tantrum, and that's because the toddler identifies with the emotion and acts it out. Plays pretend with the emotion. And you see a lot of adults do this today when people are, getting into arguments and screaming and swearing at each other and making threats and acting in violence. All of this is childhood. The reason that people are violent towards each other, the reason that people express judgment and hatred towards each other, the reason that people go off the deep end when they experience sadness or loss or grief is because we have not yet pushed past the point where we identify with our emotions and allow them to control our actions. Because that is what we were supposed to be doing as children, and our parents stopped us. And so you have the people at this level who came into adulthood or have lived through a large amount of their adulthood suppressing, ignoring, and pretending that their emotions are not there. And then you have people who, upon achieving adulthood, either left the environment that they were in or their life changed in some way for them. And so that suppression and ignorance of their emotions as children arises when they're adults. And so now they're existing in this middle part where they are identifying with the emotions and allowing them to control them the way that a child should. And most children, you see children now do. But the reason that you allow children to do that is because the natural endpoint of that experience, the natural endpoint of being a person who identifies with your emotions, the natural endpoint of being a person who acts your emotions out, is understanding that you do not have to anymore. So the next point is learning how to take back control of your emotions, not by ignoring and suppressing them, but by observing and accepting them. This is not the same thing as identifying with them. I am angry. We say that. I am sad. We say that. And then we act it out. If I'm angry, I make threats to people. I yell at people. I smash things. And I shut down. And I don't want to talk to anybody. If I'm sad, I do drugs. I drink. I stay up all night watching TV. I stuff my face with food. I am sad. I am angry is the mid-level. And the next step that a lot of us need to take is to take back power. And that's where we're at now. That's the next piece of the puzzle that we're missing. So it is okay for you to have emotions. It's okay for you to experience sadness, for you to experience anger. It's okay for you to have judgmental thoughts. And if you're having trouble with this, it is okay for you now to identify with them. But you need to learn at some point that the identification with those thoughts is what brings you suffering. And when you can allow yourself to separate from the identification of those thoughts, when you can allow yourself to let go of the emotions, that is how you end your suffering. Because suddenly you realize that just to be is more than enough. And this gives you insurmountable power in your life, because the other thing is that you can take this new emotional prowess you have, this control you have over your emotions, and your ability to not identify with them and not allow them to control you, and you can use that to further strive for the things that you want to achieve in life. And the other thing that we need to stop doing is worrying about what is and is not possible. It is not your job. It's not your job to worry about what is possible. What you should be doing, what is most beneficial to you as a person, is for you to think of the highest achievement that you could possibly make in your life and to strive for it. Is it going to happen? Who knows? Nobody can tell that for sure. You can manifest it all you want. You can try. And I believe in that. I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in the power of manifestation. But it doesn't always work, and you know that too, just as much as I do. It doesn't work for every single thing. Who knows why that is? I would like to think that, in my personal belief, I would like to think that the reason it doesn't always work is because, our higher self, the higher version of who you are, isn't really looking for that. And that maybe the desire to achieve that thing was an egotistical desire. It was a desire that happens with the identification, the false self. And that the higher self is telling you, no, this isn't what you really want. And it's guiding you in a better direction. But the most important thing is that you strive for it. Not that you work hard and kill yourself over it, but that you actively make steps towards achieving the things that you want in life. And that, most importantly, you accept and enjoy the process. Because it is the process, it is the journey towards these things that is most valuable to you as a person. And you can always be on that journey. See, the most beautiful thing is that you achieve deep, eternal freedom by thinking this way, by living this way, because you can always be on that journey. No matter where you are, who you are, or what your life is like, you can be on the journey towards achieving the things that you want. And if you can detach from the outcome of it has to be exactly this way and I have to achieve this or it means nothing, if you can remove that from your thought processes, then you can have extreme power and freedom in your life. Because every moment that you exist striving towards that goal, every moment that you exist working towards what you want in life and doing the thing that you love or trying to do the thing that you love is already fulfilling to you. And it is not about the end result. It is not about the outcome. It is about the journey. It is about the process. And learning how to control your emotions, separate from them, stop identifying with them, and observe them and accept them non-judgmentally is part of that. Is part of learning how to also enjoy the process rather than fixating on the outcome and fixating on dominating the way that your life turns out. And anybody can do this. You can do this if you're homeless. You can do this no matter what. Anybody can put themselves on the journey, and the journey is more important than the destination. So, thank you. Much love. I'll see you in the next video.